Welcome to ILTV's Israel Daily. I'm Amita Rari, and coming up in today's newscast, Israel is swearing in its 37th government, and we're wrapping up all the latest details. On one hand, Israel being consistent on the list of most expensive countries, but on the other ranking very well on a new list by The Economist. And is once trash another's treasure? Citizens of Ashkelon certainly being surprised with the treasures found on the beach. Benjamin Netanyahu is Prime Minister of Israel, and the 37th government has been sworn in. Coalition agreements were signed and presented to the Knesset, and the new ministers have been sworn in, with Netanyahu skipping the traditional Kirchhoff ceremony and briefing with outgoing Prime Minister Yair Lapid. The first hours of the new government, ILTV's Steve Leibovich reports.
The official process of transfer of power began this morning when Netanyahu and outgoing Prime Minister Lapid began the pre-swearing-in session in the Knesset plenum. The Knesset held a vote appointing Likud MK Amir Ohana as Knesset Speaker. After the vote, the 120 Knesset members voted on swearing in Israel's 37th government. After that, the cabinet ministers were sworn in. Netanyahu presented the coalition agreements to the Knesset ahead of today's swearing-in. He then began to announce key appointments to his fellow Likud leaders and their roles in the incoming government and coalition. The big drama was who would serve as foreign minister. Netanyahu made the announcement live in the Knesset. Knesset newcomer and relative unknown Eli Cohen was chosen over more veteran Likud leaders. Other key appointments include retired General Yoav Gallant as Defense Minister, Yoav Kish, Minister of Defense, Miri Regev, Minister of Transport, Nir Barkat, Economics Minister. Hours before being replaced by Netanyahu, outgoing Prime Minister Yair Lapid penned a farewell post on Facebook promising to return. Lapid wrote, "This isn't the end. This is the beginning of the struggle for our beloved country. We are fighting for the future of our kids, and we won't stop until we topple the government of destruction and return." That's politics in Israel.
Incoming Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and his coalition took the final steps in the Knesset before taking office later today. On one of the more controversial moves was the ratification of new powers over the police for Otzma Yehudit leader Itamar Ben-Gvir as National Security Minister.
אם כן, בעד 61, נגד 55, אין נמנעים. אני קובע שהצעת החוק לתיקון פקודת המשטרה מספר 37, התשפ"ג 2022, התקבלה בקריאה השלישית ונכנסה לספר החוקים, ואני מזמין את יוזם הצעת החוק, חבר הכנסת איתמר בן גביר, לעלות לברך. בבקשה, אדוני.
תודה, אדוני. שרים, חברי הכנסת, עשינו היסטוריה למען מדינת ישראל, למען משטרה חזקה, למען ביטחון בכבישים, ברחובות.
Ben-Gvir becomes minister in Israel's expanded national security ministry. According to the coalition agreement made public last night, the border police will be formally separated from the Israel police and will be placed under the direct control of the minister. The coalition planned to revise the anti-discrimination law that has raised the ire of doctors and the LGBTQ community and important Israeli businesses. Incoming Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu rejected a criticism and vowed to maintain the tolerance. We get more in this report by Steve Leibovich.
Concern about potential changes in the incoming coalition and anti-discrimination legislation has led to protests and pledges to strengthen internal anti-discrimination rules that protect gender equality and minority rights. The cancellation of the anti-racism law alarmed many Israelis and drew a warning from President Isaac Herzog against harming individual rights. Cloud cybersecurity firm Wiz, valued at $6 billion, said it would work only with companies committed to prevent such discrimination.
Basically, the startup nation cannot thrive without a strong democracy. all the last statements that we're hearing from members of the parliament that are homophobic, racist, are unacceptable in our values and in the industry that we're having in Israel today.
A comment from religious Zionism MK Orit Struck indicated that she believed doctors should be able to refuse services on religious grounds provided others are available. In response, Rambam Hospital released this video.
אני מטפל רק בג'ינג'ים.
אני מטפלת רק בבלונדיניות.
אני מטפלת רק בנשים לא דתיות.
אני מטפלת רק בנשים דתיות.
אני מטפלת רק בנשים עם שיער כחול.
אני מטפלת רק באנשים שמרכיבים משקפיים.
אני מטפלת רק באנשים שלא מרכיבים משקפיים.
אני מטפלת רק באנשים גבוהים.
חבר'ה, זאת בדיחה. כאן אנחנו עוצרים.
אנחנו מטפלים בכל אדם.
Israel Discount Bank updated its credit policy and said it would not lend money to groups that discriminate against customers on the basis of religion, race, gender, or sexual orientation, and would terminate its business relationships if this was violated. Netanyahu drew criticism from scores of local authorities after naming a far-right politician with a history of anti-LGBTQ speech, Avi Maoz, to head a new National Jewish Identity Authority with powers over some school activities.
We have newfound aspiring MKs that aim to hurt the gay community in Israel. And as we've seen in the last 2 weeks, this is not a thing that the Israeli public is willing to accept.
Outgoing Prime Minister Yair Lapid accused Netanyahu of giving in to extremist coalition demands. Netanyahu vowed to preserve the principles of tolerance.
אני שולל לחלוטין את דבריה של חברת הכנסת סטרוק. אנחנו לא ניתן להפלות לרעה להט"בים או לפגוע בזכויותיהם של שאר אזרחי ישראל. במדינה שאני אוביל, לא יהיה מצב שאדם, בין אם הוא להט"ב, חרדי, ערבי או כל אחד אחר, ייכנס לבית מלון ולא יקבל שירות, ייכנס לרופא ולא יקבל שירות. זה לא קרה ב-15 שנות כהונתי כראש ממשלה, וזה לא יקרה גם עכשיו.
Joining us now to discuss the new government is Bobby Brown, a Likud activist and former diaspora affairs advisor to Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Hi, Bobby.
How are you?
I'm okay, thank you. It's a festive day, so the new government will be sworn in today, and with all positions filled, is everyone satisfied, especially all Likud ministers who heard about their new appointments yesterday?
Well, you'll never have a case where everyone's satisfied and everyone thinks that they deserve a little bit more than they got. But Bibi was required to find a path to make everyone on board. And I think he's done as good a job as could be done. It was difficult. It took much longer than he thought, but I think he's succeeded.
And it's said to be the most right-wing government in Israeli history. Many Jewish leaders in the diaspora are still concerned about the protection of individual rights. Are these concerns really justified?
No, I don't think they are, for two reasons. First of all, the reason Bibi would have preferred a wall-to-wall government. If Mr. Gantz or Mr. Lapid had joined, it would have been able to have a much more representative government, a much more government based on many principles, and that's what I think Likud and Bibi would have preferred. But that was not to be. The various parties made Bibi the devil incarnate and said, we'll never sit with him. And they caused those parties which received the majority of the Jewish people's vote, of the State of Israel's vote. They received the majority, but none of them have come forward to join. I hope in the future they will.
You think they will in the future, in the near future maybe?
Look, if their thoughts are how to help the State of Israel and how to be represented and how to keep on keel towards goals that we all agree on, they'll join. If they want to sit back and criticize, they won't.
Definitely true. And you were involved in compromises on the issues of the Western Wall Plaza and conversion, both hot button issues. What would be your advice now to Netanyahu about these and other sensitive topics?
First of all, I think everyone has to stop for a minute and take a deep breath. We are a democratic country. We're not going to be anything but a democratic country. We represent the citizens of Israel, and that includes gay